Right guys, welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today's the day we've been waiting for. The Force Awakens has been released in the cinemas in the UK 17th of December 2015, and it wouldn't be a Star Wars review without having the core.
Way.
There we go. So we're going to just basically cover it non-spoilers just to start with for, should we say the first 3 minutes? And then we're going to get into spoilers.
Yeah, depends how long we've got to talk about, but don't worry, we'll give plenty of warning when we're going into spoilers, so, if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry about watching this review, we'll give you plenty of warning to, back out.
Yeah, and if there is anything with spoilers on it from that point, I'm going to put the word spoiler just on the screen, because it seems to be a big issue at the moment with reviews and stuff. So, were you happy with it?
It's a bit weird. I was, but at the same time, I don't know. I wasn't as happy as I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad film, because it wasn't. It was a good film. I enjoyed it. It was a lot better than any of the others.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it didn't just live up to that mad hype I had in the back of my head.
Yeah, it's always hard.
It was going to be a problem going in.
I know, it is very hard. I think Neil, that we went to see with, pretty much summed it up brilliantly. If this franchise didn't already exist, and this was the first film in the franchise, you wouldn't really be all that impressed. There's nothing bad about it. It was just, you wouldn't be sort of clamouring to see the next one. But, that aside, I think, given all the nostalgia issues with the whole franchise, I think they handled that really well, to the point where I did enjoy this more than I would had the exact same film been made, but this was the first film, if you know what I mean. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything I would say was crap about this film.
Yeah, it was brilliantly
no
sort of...
annoying characters, no, shitty CGI, no kind of plodding, kind of poorly paced stuff, no cringe-worthy dialogue.
No Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, well, I covered that under no annoying characters. But yeah, just to clarify, no Jar Jar Binks.
No really bad product placement or anything.
Sorry?
No really bad product placement or anything. Like upon drinking a Coke. No, that's not intentional. No, nothing really sort of bad to say about it. I mean, in any film there's plot holes. No film is perfect. I mean, some of my favourite films like Taxi Driver or Casino Royale, there's so many things with that you can pick at, and there's so many kind of things that they could have done better. Film is just a film.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be interesting, when this is released on DVD and Blu-ray, watching it again.
Yeah.
Kind of when I've got some distance and I can kind of take a big step back and say, right, was my initial thoughts too generous or too strict, or
Yeah.
was I asking too much or too little? But I haven't come out with that feeling of, well, yeah, that was the thing I just watched.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, there were some things in it kind of that they could have explained that they didn't quite spell out, and we'll get into the specifics of that when we get into spoilers in a moment.
I think in some ways it might have been deliberate, because I don't think they wanted to end up in another, this is the Trade Federation, and this is the
exactly,
Trade Dispute, and this is this, and this is that, and this is boring, just get on with it.
Yeah, because I've just watched...
okay, it's boring, let's get on with it, let's not bother.
Exactly, yeah.
Figure it out for yourselves.
I've just watched a few reviews. I've watched Jeremy Jans and so on. And I can't remember which one. I think it was the Jeremy Jans one was making a point. No, it was not Schmoes, no. Anyway, whoever it was Chris Stuckman, that was it. Making a point that, they don't explain every little thing in this. They've done that in other Star Wars films. The prequels, like you say, Trade Federation, all that stuff, going into the mechanics of everything, and it just didn't work. So you can argue either way. So, do you want to get into spoilers now, because I think we've gone 4 minutes already.
One thing before we do the spoilers, what do you think of the 3D on this?
I thought 3D was great. I thought there was one shot in particular. Did this grab you? There's one shot where it showed... I don't even know if they call them Star Destroyers in the film, but it just showed it was stationary.
You're going to say the Star Destroyer where it's coming right out at you.
Yeah, I mean, I know 3D nowadays isn't all about kind of it's coming at you kind of thing, but no tofu jokes, by the way.
It's nice when you get that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was really well done, was that. And I know a lot of it was CGI, but it was such good CGI, it practically looked like models, to the point where it might have actually been models.
I wasn't sure where the CGI ended and the model started, which is kind of what you want.
There were a couple of characters in this, which I'll get into in the... we can say we know there's a Supreme Leader Snoke, and I can't remember the name of the other character the really short one. Name's
Yeah, I know
eluded
the
me.
one you mean, but I can't think of the name.
Those were two CG characters, and I thought, yeah, okay, there was only two of many characters that weren't CGI, but they kind of stood out because they were CGI, and it kind of felt a bit kind of inconsistent. But that's such a minor thing. So
I mean, with Supreme Leader Snoke, I assume it's because they're going to want, when he shows up in the late films, him to be quite mobile and kind of maybe, moving a bit more than you could really get out of a guy in a suit.
yeah,
And also he's supposed to be like really tall.
yeah, exactly. So
the little alien, yeah, she didn't really need to be CGI, but it was good CGI, so I kind of,
it's fine, but fine with it.
Obviously they wanted her to move around more than would have been really easy to do with a guy in a suit, so they obviously decided we'll just go with this rather than wasting a lot of time and money on prosthetics and motors to move her eyes and stuff, because she was human shaped, but I think you'd have trouble getting a guy in a suit to have mimicked that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Anyway, so let's get.
The thing I'd add on the CGI front is, like a lot of CGI, this was good, but it wasn't one of those films that's essential in CGI. I don't think you would lose anything by watching this in 2D.
Yeah, that's true.
Because after a while, apart from brilliant shots like the Star Destroyer practically coming at you, my brain just kind of
adapted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just 3D in general.
It wasn't blurry, it wasn't hard to follow, but not necessary.
Exactly. So right, let's get into spoilers because there's 7 minutes in now. Yeah. Right, so number of things in this that we kind of guessed we were going to do. Han Solo gets killed off. How did you feel about that?
I was fine with it. You kind of had him back, and he did pretty much everything you'd want him to do. You kind of saw him. In some ways, I don't know if you felt the same way, but this was like proper Han Solo, not Greedo Fire's first Han Solo, because he was back to being a bit of a bastard at times.
Yeah.
Not in a bad, unforgivable way, but he wasn't, trying to make out like he's perfect either.
Yeah. He was a scoundrel. He's still a scoundrel. He's still a scoundrel that you couldn't really trust to not do a runner with your money kind of thing.
But you could trust him to back you up when the chips were down, because he wouldn't screw you over. But don't invest in anything he asks you to invest in.
But which
is kind of what you want him to be, really.
Exactly. But his death, anyway. Steve-O, what the hell was with Steve-O? Was he nearly crying when?
A little bit. I was like, what the hell? I think I'm a bit more attached to Han Solo than you are, man. Jesus.
Yeah. We were playing with Han Solo figures long before Steve-O was born. So yeah. But no, I mean,
he also got a good send off, did Han Solo?
Yes. Didn't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And saw it coming a mile away.
Let's get this out of the way. Harrison Ford looked the part. He was Han Solo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think he is getting a bit old to be running around through all 3 films.
Yeah. And they got the most out of him in this one film rather than keeping him alive, but give him a few appearances here and there. One thing I would say as well is that they didn't kill off Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I felt bad about what they did to the character. To me, it felt killed off, even though they didn't kill him off. In this one, they actually did kill him off, but they didn't kill the character, if you know what I mean. Like they did with Indiana Jones. Yeah. That is when it's bad.
He went out trying to connect with somebody who was really important to him. And it was also a very important character moment for a character who's going to be going forward into the other films.
Yeah, so it was a rite of passage. Because Kylo Ren is Han Solo and Princess Leia's son, which was a big theory.
The theory was it was going to be Luke's kid, wasn't it? And
theory was it was going to be Luke. A lot of people didn't realise that there's an actor that we knew was playing him, Adam Driver, and we'd seen pictures and people still saying, "Oh, it's going to be Luke." It's like, that's not Luke. Look, this is the guy. It's not him. But some people didn't have it.
Kylo Ren. It's kind of like a title like Darth Vader was.
Yeah.
Because he's a member of the Knights of Ren. Now, you don't really know much about them at the moment, but we're assuming there's something like Sith Lords, maybe like Junior Sith Lords or something.
Yeah.
Because it is specifically said he hasn't finished his training yet.
Yeah, and he's still
And
conflicted.
it does show this guy isn't Vader and he's not meant to be Darth Vader. He's cool in his own right, but at the same time, he's still young, he's still learning, he's still like an apprentice. And occasionally he just loses his shit and just like starts tearing stuff
Yeah,
up
yeah,
because he's having a tantrum basically. But at the same time, it's not
whinging.
Skywalker with that kind of note of whininess to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so everything about the character I loved. Loved the voice as well. And that was his actual voice, just with an obviously with a kind of synthesizer to it. But when he took the mask off and he spoke, he still had kind of a lot of bass in his voice.
Yeah. Plus his lightsaber work. There was some like discussion about is that going to work, and
Yeah.
it did. It looked fine on screen.
Now Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey in this, I thought that was a real standout performance. You know that she did. You really felt her character.
She is pretty much a new Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. And you know it's difficult in films like this with leading ladies as well. I mean, we get a lot of like the sort of superhero genre, but like beyond that as well. A lot of the time, it's kind of you don't get really great performances, and if you do, a lot of the time it's kind of stereotypical. Like films like Lucy. I mean, Scarlett Johansson, great actress, but not a really great performance.
Very kind of ho-hum.
Yeah. So in this one, you know, such a great character, played brilliantly, I thought, and also John Boyega's character as well.
Yeah, Finn.
Yeah, I just thought it was just really something that I think you feel kind of you want to see more of these characters and not necessarily the original cast. It feels like they can carry this on their own. A lot of the film starts with them before it even brings in the old characters, and I wasn't I mean, it got a lot of the way into the film, and I actually thought I've just realised there's a load of like original like characters that haven't even like come into it yet, and I haven't even thought that because these characters have kind of like been played so well and compelled me. But if you felt the same way,
yeah, I mean, I was definitely interested in seeing where the story was going.
Yeah.
Because I mean, all that stuff we see, like the Millennium Falcon flying around on Jakku, the desert planet, that's just the two of them. Han Solo hasn't even entered into the story yet.
Yeah, because I assumed at that point it would be in the film, but it kind of comes into it after. One thing as well, did you notice? You know the guy who I think owned the Millennium Falcon, well, he'd stolen it. Was it just me, or was that Simon Pegg in with like a load of stuff over it? I'm sure it was the voice and everything.
I didn't notice one way or the other.
I reckon it was because I know he was in a scene around about there and he was wearing a lot of that stuff, and the voice, it did sound a lot like him. So anyway.
But yeah, the way they introduced the Millennium Falcon is kind of interesting because Ryan Finnegan running away from the First Order with what was it, BB-8?
BB-8.
The droid.
Yep. Nice stroll that got went to the cinema as well, by the way.
Like, no, quick, we're gonna get to this ship that's like, you know, we can outrun him in that. And he goes, well, what's about that ship over there that you don't actually see? She's like,
no, that's rubbish.
That's a piece of junk. Come on.
Yeah.
And the ship they're going to gets blown up. It's like, you know what the piece of junk will do? And they kind of run off. It's like, shit, it's the Falcon.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a little convenient because they just happen to be on the same planet that the Falcon's on, and they just happen to be on the same planet that the
will of
on.
the Force.
However, I was going to say, like, the Force, I kind of forgive that because it's just like the start of A New Hope. It's like that droid just happens to end up on the planet that both Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi are on.
Well, life can be like that sometimes.
Leap is that on its own. You can say that the Force is kind of manipulating things. It's kind of certain things happen for a reason, not necessarily like, oh, it's predestined, it has to happen this way, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like something is guiding it.
Life finds a way.
Have an explanation of the Force, and he doesn't fucking mention midichlorians.
Yes. Or Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, somebody like goes into it, and it's basically the classic. It's an energy field. It binds, guides, you know, kind of thing. No mention of midichlorians. None of that shit.
Yeah.
Which he did not need. Again, that goes back to explaining it too much.
Yeah.
Didn't need it. But anyway, sorry, I was talking over you. Your turn.
What do you think about Luke Skywalker's role in this, in his appearance? I thought it was necessary in that they do it that way, because going forward, there's going to be plenty of time to have his character in this. And it explains why they didn't see him in the trailer.
Thinking, like, shit, we're not going to see him in this film beyond that, like, dream sequence where you see him, like, putting his, like, cyborg hand on top of R2-D2. But, no, you do see him at the end.
Yeah, and it was a big payoff, and obviously the big question was, why have we not seen him in the trailers? I figured because there's not going to be enough of him to put in the trailer without ruining a key scene in the film, like the last scene in the film, and it was such a great way to end it as well. Now, one thing, the length of the film, was it about 2.5 hours, something like that? Did not feel that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, it did not
I
feel
wanted more.
like it was long. I wasn't thinking, like, when is this going to be over? I was like, this is good.
It was the opposite. When I felt the end of the film coming, I thought, right, this is going to be how the film ends. I thought, no, I want more, you know. I know one YouTube review I was just watching was saying that if he'd come out of the cinema and episode 8 was then showing across the corridor, he would have gone straight into it, and that's how I feel about this.
Yeah, I agree, actually, wholeheartedly with that. I didn't, like, leave it with the feeling of,
yeah,
shit, that was boring, or, like, well, that was an alright film, but it was bloody long.
I might have gone for a piss in between, but that's about it.
It was good, it was well-paced, it was action-packed. One scene flowed into the next.
Yeah, no, and I think the other thing as well is you've got to, yes, it ends on not a cliffhanger, but a to be continued, which is one thing that the prequels didn't do. Each film was kind of like neatly rounded up at the end. We knew it was to be continued, but it rounded it up. This one is to be continued, not a cliffhanger as well. It is on the end of a cliff, to be fair, literally, but it's not, dire situation. Oh my god, what's going to happen next? Now, we don't have 3 years to wait, so that's the thing.
Skywalker left kind of makes sense as well.
Yeah, because he was training Jedi. One of them went bad, evil, like Darth Vader, and it was obviously Kylo Ren. They call him Ben at one point when Han Solo shouts to him. I'm sure he shouts Ben, doesn't it? Which would make sense because Ben Kenobi. I'm
pretty sure that's what he shouted as well.
Yeah, Ben Kenobi, or whatever, named after him. I don't know.
Presumably, I know Luke Skywalker's son in the books was also called Ben. And it was again named for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, it was also called Jack it was also called Jack in a story that I wrote, which is about as canonical as.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
it's
not beyond like the realms of possibility. You pedantic prick.
It's a long thing going back about the books don't count, and yeah. So I think we're running out of time.
What were you saying?
Well, we're running out of time. We've got like 2 minutes left. Literally, we can't go any further than that. So yeah, just kind of rounding it up. Very happy with it, and we don't have long to wait till the next one. I think that was the thing I was saying, because we've only got about 18 months till episode 8. But between then, a year from pretty much now, we've got Rogue One, which is a prequel film. I'm sure you know what that is, so I won't waste time on that. But very happy with it. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, which is a very good score.
I'd give it a pretty solid score as well. Like I said, I'd be interested to see what my feelings are down the line. But
yeah.
Also, it's telling that I could probably talk about this for another hour or so.
Yeah.
And not get bored.
I think we should do a follow-up review in about a week's time when we've had time to think about it. So this is our initial video. And I think plus then more people have seen it. So there might be more, you kind of talk amongst friends that have all seen the film. You don't have to worry about we're telling you what happens kind of thing when you've not seen it. So...
Yeah, I mean, our basic review, go see it. We weren't disappointed.
Yeah, one of the best.
Out of that, like, cinema with the sinky feeling of like, I'm trying to like that, but it wasn't really as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one of the top 3 films I've seen in the cinema this year, but it's one of the best cinema going experiences I've had this year. Which is, in context, obviously, it's because it's Star Wars just by its very nature. But really great film, really enjoyed it. Go with your friends, go with your girlfriend, go with your kids. You will have a really great time. You'll come out of the cinema
even
happy.
Go with Steve, although he will start crying.
Yes, poor Steve. Or both. I give both a jab when the thing came up, but
Yeah, I noticed him jumping.
Right, so we'll leave that. We'll do a follow-up review as well in about a week's time, or whatever. Might be Christmas Eve, so I don't know. But yeah, we'll do a follow-up review when we've had time to think about it. But for now, very happy. Anything else? 20 seconds you've got.
No, that's it. Like I said, I could talk for another hour, but let's wrap it up.
Cool. Right, so that's Brandix Reviews. If you want to see more, go to brandixreviews.com. There's a video coming up now. You can follow us on social media. So for now, we're going to say, may the Force be with you. See you next time. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just so you know, for more news, reviews and retrospectives, you can like our page on Facebook, simply called Brand X Reviews. But as well as that, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube via this video. You can also bookmark our website, which is brandxreviews.com, which is pretty much a central hub for everything that I've just mentioned. So check that out and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.